Hi, and welcome back to your Autism Game Plan. I'm Joya Vanderlaan. I'm a family nurse practitioner, a functional medicine specialist, and an autism mom. Today, I want to tell you a little bit about early intervention. There are many things when you're dealing with a child with autism that are very confusing, and early intervention can be one of those. So I kind of want to give a little bit of a summary here of early intervention, especially if your child is under 3 years old. This might be very helpful to you. Early intervention services are available in all states in the United States, and even in Europe, those services are actually a little bit more robust in terms of ages included. In the United States, the services go from birth till age 3, and typically in most European countries, the services go from birth to age 5 or 6. Services covered include developmental therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, some medical therapies. They cover social workers and some other things as well. So it's a pretty broadly encompassing group of services that really focus on helping a child to meet their milestones in all areas of development. As I mentioned, children from birth to age 3 in the United States could be eligible for early intervention or EI services. Now, in order to determine eligibility, there of course needs to be some sort of initiation of this process. So how do you initiate the process? Well, you can call your local early intervention company and tell them that you'd like an evaluation done for your son or daughter, that you have concerns about their development, and that you would like to have a case coordinator, a service coordinator, come out and kind of do an intake with you. Usually this is done at your home. And then from there, the service coordinator will arrange different therapists and medical professionals, depending on what your child's specific needs or concerns are. Those therapists or medical professionals will come to the house typically and do an evaluation of your child. Now, of course, all of this requires your consent. Nobody's doing this without your permission, your consent, and they're very informative along the way as to what's going to happen, who is going to pay for this, whether it's you, your insurance, the state, and how the whole process will go. Our experience was very good and very smooth with early intervention, and I'm so glad that we had access to that service. If your child was born quite prematurely, or if they had very low birth weight, or maybe they also have Down syndrome or some other medical condition, very often it's the case that you will end up with an early intervention referral directly out of the hospital because it is assumed that that child will need some kind of early intervention services. Sometimes it happens later though, when you as the parent or maybe your medical provider notices some sort of delay in whatever area with the child and kind of flags them as a child who would need an early intervention referral. So whether it's you or your doctor, nurse practitioner who is noticing that concern for the first time, it might be a little bit different how you approach the early intervention system, but know that you don't need a referral to call early intervention. If you are concerned, you don't have to wait for a referral from your provider. You can just go ahead and call, and I'll put some websites below for reference. So depending on which state you are in, that will determine which number or which website you will call or go to. Now, here in the US, at least, in order for your child to be eligible to receive services, they need to have a 30% delay in at least one area. So, even if your child doesn't exactly meet that 30% delay in speech, for instance, if they have a 50% delay in physical therapy areas, they will qualify for that physical therapy service. The next step in this process is for the service coordinator to write up your IFSP. It's kind of like an IEP, but for this early intervention program. So it's the Individualized Family Service Plan. A few things that must be in this IFSP include information about your family, information about when the services are going to take place and where. Are they in your home or a center? Information about what services the child is going to receive. Now, this document is going to be reviewed every 6 months and updated every year at least. Children change and grow and their needs change, and so they want to make sure that they are serving your child's current needs rather than what they were 6 months ago, whether or not your child needs more services or less services, maybe different services. So just know that there will kind of be a fluidity, and the IFSP document will be constantly updated. The IFSP also delineates who will pay for these services. Will it be the state? Will it be medical insurance, private insurance? And a lot of that is based on the family's ability to carry medical insurance. Do you have private insurance or not? And some of it also depends on a family's income. Usually if a family has private medical insurance, then there's a sliding scale fee structure, whereas if you make less, then you pay less, and if you make more, then you pay more. It's also necessary and mandatory that the IFSP outlines the child's transition out of the early intervention system. That's another video that I'm going to do on how do we transition our children and what does that look like when we transition them out of the early intervention program, typically at age 3. Well, what is free with the early intervention process? Well, the service coordinator and the evaluations are free. The development of the IFSP is free. But then after that, once the therapies start to be provided, that's when either medical insurance will pay, you will pay, the state insurance will pay, something like that. And you will always know ahead of time who is going to pay. You won't get any surprise bills or statements or anything like that. You will always know who is going to pay for what services. One more important thing to know is that your child cannot be denied services based on your ability to pay for services. So even for families that would struggle to pay for therapy services, those families cannot be denied therapy services. So even if there's financial trouble in the family, the child is still going to get the help they need. If you're looking to get started, I'll post a couple links below. One is to the Early Childhood Technical Assistance Center, or the ECTA, and the other is a link from the CDC. Each provide a listing of states, and they're clickable, and so you can see from there in your state which phone number should you call, which website should you go to. Now, if your child is over 3 years old, they don't qualify for early intervention services, at least here in the United States. However, if they're over 3, then what you should know is if you're concerned about their development, then you need to call the area school district and tell them that you're concerned about your child's development and you would like to have them evaluated for special education services. And that is a free service as well that the public school system is obliged to offer. Thank you again for joining me. I would invite you to join us on social media. We are on Facebook and Instagram. We're on YouTube. We've got an email list that will make sure you get all of our information only on a weekly basis, right when it comes out, so you won't miss anything. And we'll send you a free video on how to get your child to sleep and how to get them to stay asleep if you sign up for the email list. So once again, remember, be gentle with yourself. You're doing a great job.